good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening for you. Thank you for tuning in to WOD right here on the Boom Broadcasting. So much to talk about this week in wrestling, but I'm going to dive and go a different way. We always say WOD on Saturday morning for us just to recap, talk about everything that happened on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, NWA, TNA, MLW, New Japan, everything in between, CMLL, all that stuff. But this week we got a gift from PWI. And if you've been watching WOD drop the mic on Wednesdays, the nightcap, whenever I've been up there, I have been expressing my concerns of people who should be ranked in the top 10 for the PWI Illustrated. So we're going to be looking at that. Few other things we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at the president. He made a show this week, Drop the Mic on Wednesdays, where he talked about his PWI list. So we'll be looking at the president list along with mine. Also, if you go back to the nightcap on Wednesday night, we didn't dabble all the way into it, but me, mouthing off with Mike and Podcast Smitty, kind of talked about a little bit preview of the PWI list of what we thought, who should have went up, who should have went down, who was ranked way far ahead of themselves, and who got scaled back. So we're going to be talking about all of that on this show, plus a whole lot more. You listen to WOD right here with Shawn on the Boom Broadcasting Network. Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to the Boom Broadcasting right here on Boom Broadcasting. Welcome back to the Boom Broadcasting right here on Boom Broadcasting. Welcome back to WOD right here on Boom Broadcasting. Recorded so many podcasts this week. Grit and grind. Thank you for tuning in on Thursday. Thank you for jumping on the nightcap with the AEW Trio Champs, what we call ourselves. Thank you for jumping in on the nightcap. Thank you for jumping in on It Stinks this week as we talked about Big Brother, the movie The Killer, and the VMA. Also, thank you for dropping in on Quick Hits, Out of Pocket, Lombardi Party, the new baseball show, the show Sunday Address where they talk about football games. May not be the correct name, but that one on Sunday. Also, the new show with Wayne DeMotto. We're talking about fantasy football and other stuff. Thank you for dropping in on all the shows on Boom Broadcasting. If I try to name them all, trust me, I will forget because that's how much content we got. So much great content for you to watch throughout an entire week right here on Boom Broadcast on YouTube. So without that, I'm going to go to segment one today. And it was something I really wanted to talk about. And I wanted to give this guy 2 weeks because I thought the first week was good. And I felt like he was holding back. I said, okay, this guy is really getting me over as the lead new play-by-play for Monday Night Raw, and that is Joe Testore. And I really thought that first week with him and Wade Barrett was kind of like the fill it out period. I need to feel Wade out a little bit. Maybe we done some stuff in the back. We did some B-roll tape where they showed some B-roll footage, and we had a chance to kind of feel each other out, see how each other of us would flow on the mic. When I call it, can he come back, provide the color? If I drop off from play-by-play, he kind of drives. Can I run the color? If I'm driving, can he wait till I get my statement out to throw the color in? So I felt like week one, he held back. But boy, week two in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, he showed us, number one, why not only a graduate from Boston College, been on the radios up in the Boston area, but why ESPN, ABC, he worked for top-ranked boxers, lead play-by-play. Friday night fights, lead play-by-play. Tuesday night fights, lead play-by-play. ESPN college football games, lead play-by-play. Monday night football, Thursday night football. All of this stuff you really saw because I really think this week Triple H told him, we're going to take the handcuffs off. We're going to take off all the armor. You know the product. You watched the product before you got here. So you know the storylines. You know what's going on. You know the backstory of what the fans need to know to fill in the gap. Because when you're on that mic, we're watching the product. We're watching both of the wrestlers tell a story in the ring. And we can put that story together as fans. We know the story of who's the babyface, who's the heel, who's the one that's got to go over. Why did the babyface lose this match? Why did the heel cheat to win? Why did the babyface finally go over all the adversity to win this match? We as fans know that. But the play-by-play person is for the fan that's flipping channels and just stumbles across this great thing called professional wrestling. And has two guys in the ring just beating the holy crap out of each other. You don't know if it's Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Page, MJF, Adam Cole. You don't know who this person is. Never seen him in your life. You said, hey, what is this going on? Two guys beating each other up. I think I'm going to watch a little bit more to see what happens. And that's when that play-by-play person tells the story. And the greats do it good. The Tony Schiavone's, the Marios, Ronaldo, the Bobby the Brain Heenans, all of the Mike Tenays. The list could go on and on. Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler. The great was even Vince McMahon. The great ones tell the story. But Joe is doing an outstanding job because this week, like I said earlier, they took the handcuffs off and said, we're going to let you free range and let you be yourself. And I mean, every match, he told you what the move was, why he was doing the move, what the move was, what was the purpose of the move. The color guy, Wade Barrett, told you why he did this move to set up for the next move. But what really sold it to me, and I know it's week 2, I know a lot of people right now are watching WOD saying, Shawn, you're riding this guy mighty high. I hope you don't crash and burn. But it's kind of like he can't be the next Michael Cole. There only can be one Michael Cole. We know that. Obviously, Michael Cole is one of the greatest play-by-play announcers in WWE history. Arguably, he will go down beside JR, Jerry King Lawler, and Vince McMahon is one of the greatest. But what made me feel like it felt real this Monday night, go back, watch the Bret Hart segment, how him and Wade Barrett are in the ring to introduce Bret Hart, and the introduction he does. You could tell that was natural. That wasn't fair to him. He knew Bret Hart was a Canadian hero in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. He knew this was Bret Hart's hometown. He knew about the Hart Dungeon. He could talk about the Hart Dungeon, Stu Hart, all of that, the Great Hearts, Owen Hart, Dave Boy Smith who came through the dungeon, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Tyson Kidd, Natty. He knew those backstories. And during that introduction, it just felt like I was watching a pay-per-view fight with Canelo Alvarez fighting Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao. That's how that segment felt. It just felt real to me. And Wade Barrett did a very good job as the color guy saying, it's not my place to take over. Let this guy have his moment to bring out the Hall of Famer, and then let me put my little 2 cents in to just put the icing on the cake. They have something good with this team right here. Now, will I say it can be a team that could go against Cole and Pat McAfee in the future? Probably not, because Cole and Pat McAfee just have something magical. And the greats always have something magical, whether it was Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, whether it was Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, Bobby the Brain Heenan, whether it was Taz and JR and the King, Jesse the Body Ventura. The good ones always have something that you just cannot put together, but McAfee and Cole just have something magical. McAfee, more of the outcast person, loud, wild, color commentary takes it over the top. Michael Cole more of the just stay at home, drive the play-by-play. Wade Barrett will not be McAfee for Joe, but Wade Barrett will be a good complementary to Joe of giving that in-ring experience of being able to tell you about the moves. And I really think WWE has something with this combo right here. I really think this is going to be something good. Only big question I got about this whole entire thing is when game day is over, does McAfee come back as he always do? And the national championship is over. Game day is done. Will McAfee come back, go to SmackDown? And if that happens, will Graves get sent to Raw? And then you go back to a three-man booth. And I always say, I think a three-man booth does not work. I don't like it on AEW, but I learned to deal with it because I think now between Excalibur, Taz, and Shivani has backed off from being the lead play-by-play guy, and I really thought they would have kept Shivani as the lead guy. Excalibur is kind of driving. Shivani's kind of, I'm doing a little play-by-play. I'm doing a little interview segments. Taz is doing his spots, filling the color. So I don't like it because I think it gets bumpy. I think the best three-man team that I ever seen in my lifetime was Shivani, Bobby the Brain, and Mike Tenay. Mike Tenay was the analyst guy. He was the stat guy. He knew his role was provide stats. How long the guy was the champ? Who did the guy beat last time to win the belt? What date that happened? The name of the premium live event, what pay-per-view it happened on. If it happened at Bash at the Beach, it happened at Bash at the Beach back on 1998, June 22nd, when Macho Man went over Ric Flair to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. He won this match in 30 minutes and 22 seconds with a big elbow drop. That was today's job, and I think today knew his role. I think on AEW, sometimes they get lost because sometimes I'll be wanting Shivani to kind of take over because I'm a Shivani guy. Nothing against Excalibur. He's doing a good job at AEW, but I'm more of a Shivani guy. And I really thought if they could maybe move Excalibur to Collision, Rampage, kind of let Shivani and Taz 1 week go for just those two, I think you will see not so much bumpiness in the commentary sometimes at AEW. But back to Joe, week 2 was great, a stellar job. WWE definitely has something with this guy. I want to continue to see where it goes because I think him and Barrett is going to be a great pairing for Monday Night Raw as they move forward. Now, another thing I saw this week, boy, this one really caught my eye. I was truly shocked about this one, but it's what I've been waiting for. And that was to finally see the real G.O.D. finally come alive in WWE. For the past couple of weeks, we have been indulged with Patchy the One-Eye Pirate. Missed up the low blow, botched the low blow. Botch holding up the tag team belt. Botch getting in the ring. Botch getting out from under the ring. All of this stuff was coming back to be the Achilles heel to Tama Tonga. No, Tonga Low, not Tama Tonga. Tonga Low. I'm already getting so confused. It was coming back to be the Achilles heel. The Patchy One-Eye Pirate, what we called him on Nightcap. The botching of the hold the tag belt. The botching of coming out running the ring. The botching of the low blow. And I was like, what happened? Is there a WWE cloud that covers over him and follows him in WWE? Because in New Japan, we did not see this. We saw a totally different person. I don't know if it's because he was in the Bullet Club and he felt like in the Bullet Club, I got to be on my A game. But we did not see this in New Japan. But guess what we saw Tuesday night? After G.O.D., Jacob Fatu shows up on the NXT unannounced, unexpected. Good move for WWE. Keeps eyes on the product. Wreaks havoc against the Street Profits in that tag match. You know what we get? We get a promo cut on the way out. And to me, I'm still a big G.O.D. guy. What made me like G.O.D. in New Japan? Was it the in-ring talent? Yes, Tama Tonga could go. I was a big Tama Tonga guy, still am. Tonga Low was a good role player in his role with a tag with his brother. But what made me like them and gravitated me to them so much over the Bucks back then was the promos. Whenever they won the tag belts, whenever they had a match and they went to the press conference, they were themselves. New Japan just said, be you. Whatever you want to say. If you want to drop an F-bomb, drop one. If you want to say some obscenity things, say it. That's what made me like. I'm like, man, these guys just go to the press conference, just say whatever they want to say. Yeah. I told you earlier on this show, when they won the Ring of Honor tag belts, he threw it in the trash, said, this is garbage. We don't want this. We'd rather have the New Japan belts. We're signed to New Japan and we wrestle for Ring of Honor as a courtesy to come over there. We won their tag belts. That's how garbage their division is. So why do we want to walk around with this garbage? When they said that, I was like, man, these guys right here just are free range of whatever they want to say. But we saw that Tuesday night. Because guess what we saw on Tuesday night? We saw Jacob Fatu just look like a menace killer in that promo. That's all he has to do. He don't have to talk. You saw Tonga Low get in front of the camera and cut a promo, and it felt like he was back in New Japan. I said, maybe because this is going on their Instagram, going on Twitter, it's not on the live show, it's going on their feed, so he can do that. Tama Tonga, by orders of the Tribal Chief. That's all he had to say. Because when they cut those promos, they knew how to feed off each other. If Tonga Low came out and just cut a nice A-plus promo, Tama Tonga would just fall back and just do something like that. He would say, by orders of the, well, not by orders of the Bullet Club, well, he said, you already know you marks, and walk out. They're getting back to their old selves. Now, I always said that Vince would never sign Haku Boys the way they were in New Japan. I think now Triple H signing them, Triple H kind of giving them that control to kind of now start revving it up a little bit more. Let's see the GOD we saw in New Japan. When they go to Netflix, man, I'm telling you, those two are going to be out of control. Press conferences, promos on Instagram, promos on Twitter, you're going to probably hear every word in the book. And I will be loving every bit of it because that's what made me like GOD. They had that attitude. We don't care. We're going to say what we want to say. Hey, they bashed on New Japan. That's the year they write us our check, but we don't like them. The marks. That's what made me fall in love and like GOD so much. That's why I like Guerrillas of Destiny so much, because that right there, they're getting back to their old selves. When they get to Netflix, they're definitely going to check it up another box. But this was good to see the Bloodline show up on NXT. And if you don't want to have Jacob right now, mix it up with Cody, because one, you want to run Cody and Solo a little bit more. Two, you got to run Solo and Roman. Three, you got to get back to Cody and Roman where Roman beats him. What the best thing to do for Jacob? Send to NXT. Have Trick Williams win that NXT title. Have Jacob go over Trick Williams. There you go. Have Jacob go over Trick Williams and have Jacob come back to SmackDown to the Bloodline with the NXT Championship. That's the way you can keep him away from Cody till you get back to Roman and Cody. Or you can have him win the NXT title when Roman goes over Cody. Guess what? Have him drop it and now go chase Roman and win the title for Roman. It's so much you can do right now with Jacob Fatu. Like right now, he's in the best position in the Bloodline. And I told everybody, and I'll say it again, it's only a matter of time for Solo's right here, right now, and Jacob goes right there, right now. It's going to be a big gap between the both of them. It's definitely coming. So, one more thing before we get these PWI rankings. And I told my guys at work today, who I was talking with, I told them when WOD drops on Saturday, make sure you tune in and jump in the chat box, because this segment is special for him. He's a WWE guy all the way. WWE guy. watch NXT sporadically, watch NXT a little bit more now because I watch it. I talk about it with them at work. Big fan of all the stuff on Boom Broadcast and Nightcap. Drop the mic on Wednesdays. Watch all the other shows, Quick Hicks, all that stuff on Boom Broadcast. Watch all the football program, baseball program. Big fan of our channel, very big fan. He knows that what I'm talking to. But he's not a big guy with AEW. And the nights that I'm on the Nightcap or the nights that anybody else is on, I tell them, just watch AEW. Go over to the Nightcap. Hear us break it down. Hear the guys talk about it. Or hear the ladies and the guys talk about it. And then maybe you could catch on. He feel like he's so far behind. So he's reading the dirt sheets. Might as well call it what it is. And he's talking about this AEW pay-per-view. I mean, he said, this was their pay-per-view like WrestleMania for WWE, all out. I said, it is, great. He said, so this is like the big one, Starrcade, WrestleMania. That's right. He said, I find it hard to believe that they had a match where a guy had a syringe needle stuck into him on a pay-per-view event. And I told him, AEW right now is redefining and recrafting their image. I told AEW is going for the fans who are number one, true fans of AEW and been watching from day one. 2, the new fans that kind of want to see, more hardcore style wrestling. And 3, the old school ECW fans that still got that Philadelphia, Pennsylvania spirit blood in their veins wanting to shout ECW. That's what they're going for. Now, I told them, if you take away the swerve, and I told the reason why this match had to get to so much violence in it. And you know me, I told you, War Games weren't my cup of tea. I didn't need all the gaga. Just give me 8 guys in the ring. What we in Regal say? 2 rings, 8 competitors, War Games. Just give that to me, and I'm good with it. I'm great. But I told them that for this one match, it had to rev up to another level of extreme. It could not be a street fight. Could not be a hardcore fight. Could not be a false kind of word to build a street fight hardcore fight. Could not be a last man standing hardcore fight. It had to go to the limit it went to, because I told him, if you look at the back end story when this all started, it had to climax to this of what we got. 2 guys who just hate each other, and when the bell rings, we're going to beat you till you can't take it no more. And I told him that was the background of why the match had to be so graphic. He said, well, then I turn on AEW Wednesday night, see a guy burn a house down. Then I read about this match. Then I read that he still calls Dean Ambrose. I said, John Moxley. He said, Ambrose is choking out Bryan Danielson. Daniel Bryan, he's choking him out with a plastic bag of his head. Like, what in the hell are they running over there? And I told him, you got to understand, if you want to get Mox over as the most hated guy, he had to do something even more dastardly to get him even over as the most hated guy in AEW, which he did. Fans are looking like, man, you tried to kill Bryan Danielson. You tried to kill our champ. We hate you, Moxley. Now, the bad thing about it is, he didn't get no heat because people still like Mox. He's Mox. You're going to like Mox. So he did not come out with the true heat. Now, if this was in the territory days, man, I'm telling you, Mox would have had to get carried out with some law, because people would have been ready, the parking lot ready to fight. He would have had some busted out windows. They would have probably had to escort Renee out and get her to a hotel and keep sheriff in front of it all night, or sheriff deputy in front of her and Mox hotel all night room. Because, back in the days of the territories, in the good heydays of the NWA, if you heard our babyface, man, it's first blood. We're coming for you. And I told those stories about JYD, the $1 Million Man. Told those stories about Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, stuff like that. That's how it was. But in this era, if a heel does that, we look at like, man, that's, that was sick stuff Mox did, but that was pretty cool too. So I tried to explain to him that's why AEW had to have both of those things done. Now, I encourage him to go back, watch All Out. There were some good matches. The street fight was a good match. The Mariah May and Thomas Tony Storm was a excellent match. Osprey MJF, another excellent match. I just told them that, sometimes AEW, and I said best, when they get it right, they get it right. When they get it wrong, they get it wrong. And Shannon added, even made it even better. He said, "You're right, Shawn. There's no gray area." With AEW, there's no gray area. But I'm trying to tell them today, do not take two matches that you saw and say, I can't watch this product. It's an outlaw mud show. Because at first, I'm not going to lie, people. I'm right here. We're going to be honest on WOD today. When AEW started leaning towards more of the Gaga, because I was so glad that when they opened up 5 years ago, I said, we finally got an alternative wrestling show on another channel competing against WWE that's going to make WWE step their game up. And I remember saying, hey, it's great wrestling. Everybody got tuning in, good wrestling, good wrestling. But then AEW started making that left turn where you started seeing the Gaga. And I remember even telling people, like, man, I can't watch it no more. It's like watching the Outlaw Indie Mud show. I want to watch the Outlaw Indie Mud show. We don't even have it at the fairground no more. Guess what I'll do? I'll go to the fairground somewhere up there in Black Mountain, Waynesville. Shout out to my boys up there in the western part of North Carolina. I'll go to a fairgrounds, go check, pay $5 for admission, go watch a good old-fashioned tough man, and watch some guys get in the ring and beat the holy crap out of each other, and I'm cheering both of them on. But that's where I felt like AEW was going, to that style right there, more of the little too much Gaga for me. But now I'm telling everybody, the storytelling, the match wrestling, the what's the word I'm looking for? The way how the match just flows through with both wrestlers. And I said the best on the night count. TR, Osprey, and Taylor, I could have watched that any day. TR and the Outrunners, I could watch that any day. Osprey and Fletcher versus the Outrunners, I could watch that any day. That's what you get with AEW. You're going to get great matches, but sometimes some things do get intertwined. But I read that AEW is thinking about looking for another major network. And one of the main ones they're looking at is Fox. I would not take that. I would not go to Fox. AEW going to Fox. First of all, with WWE on Fox, one of the main reasons they left is at 9:59, they got to sign off. Fox has to do the 10 o'clock news. That's their staple, 10 o'clock news. It's got to be done. So if you're AEW, your show does go off at 10 o'clock on Dynamite, but would Fox want to subject themselves to have some of the stuff you have on TV? Because even now with SmackDown, it's not watered down, but it's tainted. It's tainted. We can't say that. Going back to USA, I think it's going to rail back up a little bit more, but SmackDown was always more of the wrestling show, and Raw was more of the wild promo show. So I think it'll rev up a little bit more. You'll see a little bit more transition before they hit the Netflix. But if I'm AEW, I wouldn't take that. And I told somebody today, AEW going to Fox is like ECW in the 90s going to TBN, the Trinity Broadcast Network that my aunt watches every day to see her favorite reverends and preachers preach on it every day. It's not going to be compatible. And no, not on TBN. No, knock it off. Great channel. But it's not going to be compatible. Not going to be compatible. If my aunt is watching TBN on 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, do you think she want to see Paulie Dangerous, Paul Heyman, walking around with an ECW hat on, a black trench coat, barbed wire, 3 tables, New Jack out there cussing up a storm, Sandman smoking a cigarette, drinking beer in the crowd? Oh, she's going to say, what type of garbage is this on my TV? This is not what I want to see. And we're going to watch AEW on Fox, but the executives at Fox will be like, we cannot have this type of programming on this channel. If I'm AEW, I would just stay with TBS, stay with TNT, find a way to figure it out to make it work, continue on till you can get signed and picked up. by a streaming service. And I mean, I keep saying once again, you won't be able to get Peacock, but there's so many more else out there you can get. You can grab Hulu, Paramount Plus. It's so many more you can grab. And I mean, Paramount Plus would be a great destination for AEW. You got HBO Max, so many ones you can grab. Start looking that way and preparing yourself. I'm telling you, if they go on HBO Max or Paramount Plus, they're going to go up because a lot of people subscribe to those apps and will watch the AEW programming. Fox is a no-go for AEW. I wouldn't do it, but that's what executives are there for, to make those decisions. I'm just a guy on Saturday morning sitting in a chair doing a little armchair booking and a little fantasy booking for wrestling right here on WOD. Now, let's jump into the meat and potatoes of the show today, the part I've been saving for the end. PWI this week dropped their rankings. Hey, PWI, where is my magazine? I've been waiting for it. I need the magazine. PWI, you're never this late with my magazine. I had to go read the digital copy. They dropped their rankings. Of course, if you've been hiding under a rock, then you don't know what they are. But I think everybody who's watching WOD are quite familiar with what PWI ranked 1 through 10. But in case you're not, we're going to read them. Number 1, representing WWE, Cody Rhodes was their ranked top wrestler for this year. Number 2, representing AEW, the former heavyweight champ, Swerve Strickland. Number 3, another AEW guy, Will Ospreay, right now the United Kingdom champ. Number 4, the former world heavyweight champion himself, Seth Rollins, WWE. Number 5, Naito for New Japan. A New Japan guy cracks the list again. Naito, one of those ones will always crack it. Number 6, Damian Priest, WWE, the former world heavyweight champion. Number 7, MJF, the former, not United Kingdom, United States champion in AEW. Number 8, Jon Moxley, AEW, former heavyweight champ. Number 9, the reigning and defending current world heavyweight champion of WWE, Gunther. And number 10, Mr. Gover, CMLL, AEW, MLW, and all the indies in between. Good list. Not the list I would expect it. Now, you just heard those 10. You probably get ready to hear me give the president's 10. But before you hear me give the president's 10, hit pause, jump over to Drop the Mic, Wrestling Podcast with the president, Michael Davis, 2024 PWI 500 list analyzed, and Roman Reigns Raw. Click that link, tune in, see what my guy Michael D picked for his top 10, listen to his breakdown, come back at the 32 minutes and 40 seconds, hit play, and jump right back on WOD.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
So, you just heard the press list. We're back on WOD. Now let's go through his list, and then we'll go through my list. I wanted to bring his list over to see just kind of what we were thinking when we're in the same place. His number 1, he said he would not change. He would keep Cody. His number 2, he would change. He would put Ospreay up to number 2. His number 3, he would change. Of course, it's got to change because Swerve is gone. He bumped Ospreay up. He's dropping Swerve down to number 3. Number 4, guy was not in this list for PWI. He welcome to the party. Bryan Danielson. Number 5, Seth Rollins. He was in the listing. So Seth goes down 1. Number 6, Gunther. Gunther goes up 2. Number 7, MJF. Number 8, Drew. Number 9, Priest. Number 10, Joe Hendry. Good list from the press right here. And I said, I think the press really hit on the money with his list. Had some great people up there who I definitely got in my list. So now I'm going to go through my top 10 of PWI. And Podcast Smitty said it best on the nightcap. PWI, we got wrestling shows. You got Drop the Mic Wednesdays. You got the Quick Hits with the Gentleman's Club Corner. You got Mouthing Off with Mike with his podcast at Nightcap. You got WOD. What do we have to do? You got to get a chance to come to the table and vote. We need to vote on this top 500, top 100 list. We need to vote at least on the top 10. So my list, I go different. Number 1, I give it to the guy who to me was truly And this is going to change because I will go ahead and say, the past couple weeks I've been saying two people are fighting for number one. One with the social media presence, one with just being the best and what he does and getting the best out of other people. But when I go back and I watch some film today, and I watched some footage on Friday evening, watched a lot of footage while I went to the game, the best wrestler to me to put on the best matches this year should be number one. And unfortunately, Cody had a great year. He finished the story. He beat Roman at Mania. It was the ride off into the sunset. But my number one would be Ospreay. Ospreay to me had the better year with matches. And I still can say the guy can go. He's the reason why every Wednesday night I'm tuning to AEW. He can go. My number two, I'm going to stay right there at AEW. And I'm going to move this guy up. Me and the press dropped him down, so me and PWI are in the same thinking. I'm going to give it to Swerve Strickland. Great matches. He was a heavyweight champ. Put eyes on the product. He had people watching AEW to see him. That's when you're the heavyweight champ. You're supposed to be the guy that can draw the money, bring the people in the house, sell the merchandise, get people to buy tickets to put butts in seats, as Dusty Rhodes would say. Swerve had did that when he was a champ. Swerve is my number two. Then my number three, I'm going to give it to Cody. And I'm giving it to Cody because, yes, he did beat Roman. He is the champ. But don't it feel like Cody's getting stale? Since he finished the story with Roman, we don't have a new story. We tried to have one with Solo, and it just did not work. And maybe because Solo's not the guy. And maybe if it would have been Jacob instead of Solo, Cody would be number one on my list. But I feel like he's getting stale. He needs something new. Then I go to my number four. No other than this person deserves to be number four. The Ring General, Gunther. Longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Tore the house down at Mania with him and Sammy. Tore the house down with him and Ricochet. Tore the house down at Bash in Berlin with him and Randy. Tore the house down at King of the Ring with Randy. Every match Gunther's been in, the Drew McIntyre match, the Sheamus match, even though it was this year, but everything this guy has been involved with when it comes with stepping on that sacred mat in that squared ring and wrestling, it has been golden. His promos, golden. Chad Gunther had a 5-star match with a guy. And I mean, I like Chad Gable. He's my guy. I've been saying push Gable for years. Before WOD, I was talking about it on Drop the Mic with Mike. I was talking about it on Out of Pocket on Top Rope Tuesdays. Talking about on other content I was showing up that Gable's a guy that needs to be pushed. Gunther was able to show everybody why Gable should be considered a top mid-card guy or a good main eventer. Had a 5-star match with Gable on Monday Night Raw on free television. That was a classic. Gunther deserves to be number 4. So if I move Gunther to 4, I had to drop this guy back. And the only reason I had to drop him back because you got Ospreay, Swerve, Cody, and Gunther. So this guy got to go number 5. He's got to be number 5. He's the only guy at AEW who he could be wrestling a dog, a cat, a horse, a cattle, a rabbit, a chicken, a car, an action figure, and he will bring the best out of it. There's no other than Maxwell, Jacob Freeman, MJF, the guy, I say it every week. He just knows how to be a heel. He knows his job. He knows what he has to do. MJF, my number 5. The Preds got MJF at number 7. PWI got him at number 7. Now my number 6, the workhorse. You got to give it to the workhorse. We covered all the champs. We covered the best heel in professional wrestling. So if you already covered the best heel in the champs, who's next? The workhorse, Seth Rollins. He was the workhorse for WWE during that first title reign of the World Heavyweight Championship. So you got to give it to Seth. Then I go 7. And my 6 and 7 was so hard because it could have been any one of them. Because now you got to give it to the AEW guy who's been the workhorse and the trainer to get this younger talent in AEW ready so that when he passes the baton and walk out the door, they can carry on. Bryan Danielson, AEW World Heavyweight Champ. Great match. Him and Swerve Strickland. Very good match. Bryan Danielson, my number 7. Now my number 8. And this is where I dropped my guy down. Because I told you I had to go with off of in-ring ability wrestling. Does he have it? Yes. Did we see a lot of it? No. Why? Because he was on TNA. And we were watching TNA, or we were watching TNA. And then when he blew up, we got back in TNA. When the Hardys came back, we got back in TNA. We said, hey, this TNA thing is irrelevant again. The NXT, WWE, TNA partnership. It's irrelevant. It's great. It's working good. This guy is the focal point of the partnership of NXT and TNA. He is the one that's staying in the middle. He's the liaison of both of these brands. It's Joe Hendry. Now, I said Joe Hendry should have been 1 or 2 earlier this year. But when I went back and I made my list, I thought about it. I said, not this time, because maybe next year will be the year when Joe Hendry cracks the top 3, top 5. The social media presence is there. Promo skills are there. He's over like Rover. He can work in the ring. Had a great match with Ethan Page. Had a great match tonight when he was robbed when he should have won the TNA championship. But Nick Demus won it. So a good showing for Joe Hendry at number 7. Now I go to 8, Damian Priest. Once again, the workhorse. If you got a babyface workhorse, you got to have a heel workhorse. That was Priest. Great title reign. Really came into his own. And I think next year, Priest will crack that top 5. He's really found himself in WWE and found a good point of where you want to be at, where he went from a bottom mid-card guy to a mid-card guy that we don't even remember him winning the Intercontinental U.S. title to now being a World Heavyweight Champ to being the biggest babyface on Raw right now, besides Jey Uso. So number 8 goes to Priest. Now my number 9, Jon Moxley. And I dropped Mox down. I dropped Mox down 1. Mox had a great year, not a Jon Moxley year. Injuries sideline him, other stuff sideline him, but a good year. And I think leading now from where Mox is at right now, AEW, coming back next year, he's one of those guys that could crack the top 5 again. Now my number 10, and it was a toss-up between both these guys. You got every champ except the TNA champ. It's either Nick Demus or Moose. Both of them had a great year in TNA. Both of them with using Joe Hendry brought relevance back to TNA. And I put Nick Demus over Moose because I felt like Nick Demus, Dolph Ziggler, went to TNA and just reinvented himself. Showed everybody why he's still one of the best in the world, why he's still the show-off. So I put Dolph first, Nick Demus, then I put Moose. So that's my 10. And then I brought him an honorable mention, which was Drew McIntyre. McIntyre has had a great year in WWE, but the losses is what hurt McIntyre. The big win over Punk, SummerSlam was good, but he's had some losses. Losing the title, having Priest cash in on at Mania, that kind of hurt his stock with me in my books. Like I said, great year for McIntyre, just has not been the McIntyre year that we saw 3-4 years ago. So that's my top 10. How I would rate it with PWI. Like I said earlier, PWI callers, we're ready to jump in on this vote scale, have some in-ring discussion with you at the table, break it down, show you the copious notes that we all take for all our shows and why we think these people should be ranked at the ranking where they are. This is Shawn. We want to thank everybody for tuning in to WOD today. Once again, thank you for tuning in to all the content on Boom Broadcasting. We will see you next week on WOD at 10 a.m. in the morning if you're Eastern time, and if you're Central, Pacific, and Mountain, we'll catch you on the B side. This is Shawn. I'm signing off, and we'll see you on WOD next Saturday.